What's up, guys? So last month I had mentioned to you guys that I was a little underwhelmed with the Video Games Monthly service and that I was tossing out the idea of canceling it. I had some good feedback in the comments from you all. Thank you guys so much for that. And ultimately I decided that I think I am going to cancel the service, as it just doesn't get the value that I think I should be getting out of it. But by the time I finally made my decision, I had missed the cutoff for the month to cancel the service. So we got one more. So let's open this last box, let's show you what it is, and we'll talk about it a bit. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Video Games Monthly is a monthly subscription service. You give them an amount of money, and they'll send you either 3, 4, 5, or 10 different video games each month. You tell them the retro consoles that you have, you tell them which games you already have for those systems, and they'll send you an assortment of games that you don't own for the systems that you have. Full disclosure, I have already opened this box. It always comes on a day that's not my recording day, and April and I are both impatient and we want to know what's in it. Here we go. We're gonna crack her open and we're gonna dive right in. It does seem like they changed their social card to be this full little banner here, instead of just a little business card. And hey, that's cool. This gives you a bit more information, and it's all just concise instead of being on a business card. It's a lot harder to lose something like this if you actually need to know what's on the card. And the Video Games Monthly always sends some kind of little gamer aesthetic thing. This month for Christmas, they sent this sticker thing that's Wario in Christmas attire. You can make him all Christmassy and excited for the holidays. I get the 5-game box, and I tell them I have an N64, a Super Nintendo, and a Sega Genesis. So let's just crack right in. We'll show you what we have. We'll start with the N64 game, because to me that's actually like the important one for my collection, because as you know, I am trying to complete the N64's library. And this game is Top Gear Rally. Now, I do like N64 racing games. I've never played the Top Gear games on the system, but hey, it's a racing game. It can't be too terrible. And it's Midway, so Midway makes good games. It seems like it's harder to control than most racing games. Maybe it's just the way I had my cart set up, and maybe the fact that I was using an emulator instead of the actual N64. It is what it is there. It does seem like it could be fun if you could get a handle on the controls. So I am looking forward to actually sitting down with this one with my console to actually give it a proper go. The Super Nintendo game they sent me this month was Tasmania. I have not played Tasmania on the Super Nintendo. I do have it on the Genesis, and they seem very different. It's been a long time since I played the Genesis version, and I only really played it for a few minutes when I got it, but I could have sworn that that game was more of a platformer, whereas this is almost like this, at least in the initial bits of it, this almost feels like pole position, like a little bit. The first little bit of it played like pole position. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm confused about it, but also like intrigued how they're very different. Like I know that some of the games of this era on the different systems were very different. Just look at Aladdin. This was very different than what I remember of Tasmania on the Genesis. So yeah, that's actually kind of cool that they are so different. And then the Sega Genesis games. We'll save one specific one for last because it's something I want to talk about. First up though, we got Bassmaster Classic. Now, it's a fishing game. I don't really know a lot about fishing games because I've not really played them before, and this one is something. If fishing games are your bag, then this could be a fun addition. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back to this one, but hey, it's something cool to have in the collection. Next up, we have F-15 Strike Eagle 2. It's a flight sim game, or a fighter jet simulator game. And honestly, these flight simulator style games, I've only played a few of them. I played Top Gear on the NES. I played a couple of them. I'm sure that there's a niche for this style of game, but it is not for me. It's almost kind of fitting that these games came in the last box that I'm planning on getting, because it's almost like a nail in the coffin for it, you know? It's like, this is proving that this is not the way I like to collect games. And lastly, on the Sega Genesis, we have Animaniacs. Now, it's really unfortunate, the actual quality of the label here, because this game, well, a little bit I played of it when I was recording, it's actually seems fairly solid. You got the 3 Warners, They each have a different ability. You can swap between them at any time. And this is just a really neat idea for a platformer, for like a Sonic-esque style platformer. It does still kind of have like momentum with it. And so for this style of platformer, this actually seems like it could be a lot of fun. And I do actually want to give this game some time to play through some of it. But that ding to the label. And this card here brings up a really important point about VGM and about any service that's going to give you something that you don't really get to check in on the games that you're receiving. And that's that you don't know what you're getting. Like obviously these games are not going to be super valuable, and that's because that's kind of the point of the business model. But because of that, something with this kind of damage is not something that I would ever choose to add to my collection. Like, the game is fun. The game seems fun. I'm actually really looking forward to playing it. And I'm excited that I have a physical cart of it, but this is not what I would have bought if I'd gone to a game store or a convention and found it. This is one that would sit there and just wait. Because like I said, these games are not super expensive. You can take 20% off of a $100+ game and say, hey, that's a good enough deal. It would warrant you having one in your collection that's damaged like that. Though when the game is only worth $6, you wouldn't buy this one. You'd wait until you found one in better condition. Those were the games. The value of these came up to just shy of $35, which is problematic whenever you're paying $55 for the box. I can't count shipping in that. They do ship priority mail, and that does cost $10 to ship, so you have to take that off of the total costs, which is why, so the box itself is $45, but I'm $10 under on value. And I mentioned it in one of the comments I replied to, I think, that level of disparity between cost versus value to me is just not worth it for how I like to add games to my collection. The business model is cool. You get sent random games to add to your collection, and it might add something that you never thought of, that you might would have looked at in a store and said, I don't want that. But then you have it and you can actually play it and experience it and have fun with it. That's a really cool aspect of a service like this. And if that's something that fills that niche in your life of how you want to play and collect games, then awesome, go for it. But this is just, I have learned in the past 4 months of doing this that this is not something that I want to continue spending my money on. However, I do still like this mystery box content, this kind of mystery box content. So in the future, I'm gonna do like I suggested in the last video. I'm just gonna give April a handful of bills to go to our local game store and just to find something fun to throw into her own like mystery box style of thing. So April's mystery boxes will be a series joining this channel in the near future, probably starting in January. But that was my VGM for the month. That's gonna be my last Video Games Monthly, and that's it for me for this one. So I want to thank you guys for being here, and I do look forward to bringing you more mystery box content in the future, even though it's probably not going to be from Video Games Monthly. So again, thank you guys for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, y'all.